learning how to do it. Um, I am currently live as the sun's going down. I found a good high place to do it. Oh, gosh, the can't really even see it. It's still high enough, and the camera looks like it's made it so you can't see it. But see if anybody else joins in at all. Seems like nobody's here yet, which I'm just in the last 5 minutes. Um, yeah, just got a text come in from. It's not. I mean, I'm just learning everything right now. I just got a text come in. Let me flip this damn thing, so I don't accidentally fall as I wander around back and forth up here. From the friend I just sent a message to saying, "Hey, at least one person be here." Um, for my first time of doing it, I didn't reach out to anybody specific. So, plus I didn't even give an absolute specific time. All this so I can really just give it a go and see if it works out at all. Crazy thing is, I just did one a couple minutes ago, or half an hour or so ago, to make sure that it was actually going to function from up here. And yeah, so I'm up here just thinking crazy thoughts and trying to understand why the system we use for divorce is what it is. Because um, the main reason that or one of the most obvious reasons that it is probably what it is because of no no fault divorce provides inventory for the business of divorce. And there's a movie that I watched and learned about a little over a year ago, um, when I was already like 7 months or more into the process of divorce, because I'd never been that close to anyone getting divorced. That I talked to them about their lawyer selections and all of that. Um, Fortunately, a lot of people I know haven't really been through it, and so plus they all have the typical ways of doing it, and I don't do things the typical way. But when I don't know what to do, I start at the typical way, and so I learned from experience on how messed up the system is, and I never would have expected it 2 years ago today. um, Actually, that's part of what I'm doing here too. Is just for my own um, healing process. I don't know if it's the greatest way to do it, but I'm looking back at where I was a year ago and where I was 2 years ago, and realizing how much the system has screwed me. The system. It's like, so 2.25 years ago, my wife decided she didn't want to be married anymore. I mean, we tried marriage counseling and stuff, and I thought we were on the right track, but she didn't, I guess, obviously, unless she was just trying to really put the motivation in for me to change. And I don't think her requests were negotiable. She basically said, "You need to do this and this and this, and I don't need to do anything." And I was like, "Well, I'll do this, that, and the other. I'll do that more if you do some stuff for me." And whether that's the right or wrong way to be in life, I mean, that's kind of nobody's in it all for the other person all the time, which it's one of the reasons why marriages don't last in our country. And one of the things I'd probably like to discuss too is that kind of stuff too. So, I mean, ultimately, I don't want to blame it all on the legal system. I can actually handle it for my psyche, anyways. I can handle. I don't want to be divorced. I don't want to be left. Be in a relationship where my wife leaves me, but I can handle that as part of life easier than I can handle is nonsense part of life. And the current marriage laws being what they are, that I did not know those were the laws. That's really why I'm up here right now, trying to find some other people, and I know they're out there. There's many of them out there that have been screwed over by the system, that want to talk about how we can make some real change. Yeah, I don't know. I guess sitting here, I mean, when you're live, you just got to keep talking. And that's one reason I'm doing this too, is just kind of for practice and experiment a little bit. I mean, it's a little bit different when you make the videos. Um, you can always, stop it, say that's not good enough, and start over again, and then do that 20 or 30 times, and then say, nah, I'm not even posting anything. So this way guarantees I'm actually gonna do something and post it. So yeah, hoping somebody joins. I don't even know if anybody I know knows how to join. And I'm just trying to figure it out. Looks like if I look up here, it says there is 0 people here and 0 thumbs up. So I figured out earlier that that's where you press the X to close it. And the weird thing is too that I did this like 7 months ago in January. I practiced doing it, and I that's one of the things of the trauma responses of dealing with the burden of, you know, getting divorced and missing the person that was the most important person in your life. Not only that, you got to deal with the lawyers that really, I mean, I feel my experiences with the first lawyer, I mean, he wasn't working for me, he was working for himself and creating conflict, just like that movie said. I don't know if there's anything I can actually do about it at this point. Definitely, I wasn't doing anything because they all know each other, and I thought I was going to try to still get a lawyer and stuff. That ultimately, just the whole way my situation played out, I never end up hiring a lawyer, and I went in pro se. And another reason, the sun's getting pretty cool here. Let's just take a quick look at it. I don't think I can. Oh yeah, I can zoom. Not like a normal camera though. But yes, and it doesn't come through as good as it would if I actually had the camera on it. But yeah. So I guess we can watch it go down over my shoulder. Maybe, I don't even know how to do that. This is all an experiment. So if anyone actually watches us back, yeah. Anyways, where was I at? I kind of lost my train of thought checking out that gorgeous sunset, which I don't think you guys can see it anyway. Oh yeah, one of the reasons that helped push me into doing this actual thing. So we had 2 judges while I was in this 20-month process of getting divorced. My first lawyer made sure that it didn't happen quickly. He didn't even really discuss it. Didn't discuss much with me. I probably should have been a little bit more demanding of him in hindsight. But I didn't know what to do, and he basically told me, he's like, I'm the professional here. You just let me do it. And I was like, all right. So what are you gonna do? Well, I'm gonna make sure that she pays for making you do this type of stuff. And like, whatever. If she's got to go, I'm just doing whatever I have to do. I'm not thinking that I can do it myself or anything like that. I'm not thinking about what's really going on. And just like, well, I guess you get divorced. Actually, ultimately my third attorney, I did try. I just hired one of my pool customers, because if you see my channel or whatever, you see that I install pools. And one of my pool customers happened to be a lawyer the year before or whatever, so I talked with him, and he was, I think he's 81 now, maybe 82. So he was like 79 or 80 at the time, and he told me a bunch of stuff that in hindsight most likely wasn't true. Told me that fault mattered and all that, and that she can't, you can fight back by saying she can't divorce you. Well, that's pretty much not true. And then so I kind of knew the whole time that, well, I knew wrong. I thought the thing to do the whole time was get somebody that specializes in divorce, because they can help you. So I didn't know how to hire one, and I asked for recommendations from other professionals, and They set me up with this guy that I'd never met before, knew nothing of him, just thought he had a good reputation, kind of checked out his reviews. He was kind of okay. And one of the things he said in the first intake was, don't worry about it. You can just, if you really love her, you can just, I'll help you through this process and then you can remarry her. And I was like, at the time, I was like, that sounds like the stupidest thing in the world. Well, it is. It is actually pretty damn stupid. And there's no reason why anyone should actually do that, but it happens, and it happens quite a bit. And actually, where I'm sitting now, after she was awarded a very significant part of my retirement, if I was only about the money, or whatever, I mean, it's a way to recoup your funds, is to, either that or find some other person that has more money than you, which shouldn't be the whole basis of marriage anyways. And that's really my biggest frustration, because that's not supposed to be the reason why people get married. And if you start looking, James Sexton, I don't know if anybody's aware of that name. Oh, cool. I'm give it a few minutes and I look up, I got 4 people here. I don't even know if anyone can just say hi, I'm here, or whatever, so I see if you send a message or anything, so I understand how it comes up. And this really is just an experiment for me this time. Maybe next time I'll be a little bit more prepared. I mean, part of the reason I'm pushing to do it so fast, and I'm still trying to, I thought it'd be fun for the sunset, but honestly, the camera in this thing doesn't do as good of a job. And it looks like I just lost somebody. Yeah, I don't. Somebody says hello, I think. They're at the bottom. But yeah, I don't know how long I'll stay up here. Probably, definitely. Well, I watch the sun go down, anyways. I was hoping to be able to share that a little bit more. Yeah. See, that's why I shouldn't lose my thought. That's why you got to be pretty practiced to do this live stuff too. I mean, everybody thinks what YouTubers do is easy and content creators is easy, but until you actually do it, and that's why it's done. I put a little bit of thought into it in just the last day, and I guess what I'm saying is the reason, that's where I lost my tangent. The reason I'm doing this now as quickly and as motivated as I am is my judge is doing TikTok, and I hope, and I mean, what he's doing is, he's saying that he's a good guy and he's gonna try to help us out by making these videos and let us know how to represent ourselves and help us represent ourselves so we don't get forced into the business of divorce. And I will say I had three times in front of him. I guess, yeah, that's where I should be a little bit more consistent with the story, have some notes, and if no one's going to ask me any questions, which is what I was hoping this would be more about, and that's future ones, that's what I'm going to be. Hopefully I might make a video ahead of time with some talking points and stuff like that and put it out and try to get people to watch it, and then actually have the talk and go over the talking points on these things, and hopefully people will be watching. And there's just a little touch of the sun right now. Yeah, they'll just go on for like another 5 minutes. Now we got sundown. I wonder what the exact time is. Let's actually look at that. It's supposed to have been 7:51 p.m. tonight, and if I look at my other phone, it's still 2 minutes early. But the thing is, we're not over an ocean, and let's swap it out there. There's trees out there, even though they're way far out there. The sun's got to get down past those trees way out there. So seems like it might be just a touch early. I do like to do the sunset things that nobody really cares about. But so real quickly, that's why I'm going to go over the whole timeline of my divorce. On June 2023, my wife decided that she wanted to break up. And that's all marriage divorce really is a breakup anymore, because there is no commitment. She has no repercussions whatsoever for leaving me. She is being rewarded by the judicial system and the family court system for leaving me because I'm forced to take care of her when she wants, or forced to give up a lot of what I worked for, so she gets to have half of it. Um, and so therefore, since, I mean, fortunately, and I will say this real quick, and then I'm going to get back to the timeline. She was a pretty good earner herself, and she could take care of herself. And part of my my thinking is, in a modern society where women want to be equal and everything, if they don't want to stay married and they have the means to take care of themselves, they should take what's theirs and leave. Um, if that's what they choose to do, if they don't have a good reason, like, the traditional reasons for divorce back when fault mattered, abandonment, severe cruelty. There's a handful of them, cheating, adultery, but currently none of that stuff actually even matters. And in my particular case, since I didn't have any kids, from what I've learned in my experience, maybe I'm wrong, and anyone that really knows should correct me here. It's one of the reasons why I'm doing this too, is to further my learning on what maybe I could have done differently. But I mean, even from the lawyers I had, it pretty much sounds like you're screwed, and we'll just help you through this. So June, she decided to leave. She didn't actually leave, and I mean, I helped her. I didn't want her to go, but I wasn't begging her to stay. And maybe in hindsight, maybe I could have done. I mean, some of the stuff I would have done differently. But you're going through life the first time. You always make mistakes. So there's definitely a few things I do feel I would have done differently. Felt a little regret for, unfortunately. And I don't know if it would have mattered if I would have known what the law is or not. Which ultimately, I feel the law should push both people to commitment. All right, I've tangented way longer than I should have. So ultimately, she moved out in September. We went on a goodbye cruise because, I mean, we were on the path to consciously uncouple before I knew it was even a thing, even a term. We still liked each other. We didn't hate each other. It hurts when love fades and goes away. And I'm sure, I mean, she hurt me by saying she wanted to leave, and I hurt her by not trying really hard to keep her. And I mean, that's just the nature of the beast. I mean, that's it. I mean, those are givens. That's just what happens when love fades. So, and I've always kind of felt that, I think most married couples that stay married for life go through periods of time when they experience that. And, they stay committed and hopefully are happy they did. Now, through my year and a half of experience and caring about other people that are in this, because I'm in it, and listening to what other people have to say, I mean, James Sexton claims that 50% of the first marriages end in divorce in modern society, and he says 25-30%. I don't quote me on the numbers, but it's like another significant portion of the people that are married aren't happily married and wish they never were married. So he says, like, when you get married, there's like a 75% failure rate, and only 25% of the people get to be happy, more in love every day of their life. And till death do you part, for real. I mean, sounds like most people end up not happy. And well, I don't know, most people being 75%, that's still pretty good number. And maybe we shouldn't stay married forever, and they should do away with marriage. But I mean, that's some of the arguments for no fault divorce that aren't for the business of divorce. And if you're going to do that, you need to conscious uncouple. So we were on a path of conscious uncoupling. She briefly talked to a lawyer. The lawyer told me, "Hey, dude, it doesn't matter. Go sleep around. None of that matters. You're screwed no matter what you do." Didn't say it exactly like that, but that was the implications. So, so whatever. I just went on, tried to get along with her, did a halfway decent job of getting along with her. I mean, it wasn't the easiest thing. I mean, we actually, like I said, went on a goodbye cruise, and it was very emotional and very hurtful, but still trying to do the right thing because we care about each other and we want to be friends. And we even had another cruise planned, even though we knew we were, splitting up. I mean, that's how good of friends we potentially can be. And that wasn't happening till January. So I really felt the time between um, those 2 cruises when she moved out, and we were going to meet back up in January, and we're going to have another chance to work it out. And yeah, that didn't happen because she contacted her lawyer about a month and a half before the cruise that we were both planning on going on. She blindsided me with actually filing and initiating the divorce, which um, supposedly that matters. I don't know how much that really matters in the end, especially with a relatively simple relationship. I mean, we didn't have any kids, and we both could take care of ourselves. And we were married for quite a while. At that point, it was like 12 and a half years or 12 and 3/4 years. And um, yeah, it's tough. I mean, I was heartbroken for sure. And at that point, I was starting to lean more towards making sure I tried to win her back. And then I got the divorce papers. So the divorce law really helped solidify the fact that I kind of didn't want her back at that time. But I wanted her. It's like those mixed feelings were tough. And at the time, I kind of was like, there's a few other people that I might even be interested in moving on with, if the divorce process would have happened at a reasonable rate. But I wasn't actively pursuing anything. I was hanging out, trying to find myself and do all the things that you should do in that time, and try to determine if you should really be married or move on too, so you could participate in the process as well. But it turns out the legal system says, no, it only takes one person to not want to be married. Doesn't matter why. You could even be the most perfect person. Not that I was, but even if you were, with this, the law is you can quit and go and leave. And then if you do, the other person is drawn into this business, and you're required to hire a lawyer, and the lawyers help make you fight. And so, quite honestly, I guess by sharing that part, I'm taking a long time to kind of do the story because I'm rattling on here live. But it's why we need to change. I know other people got way other, probably even better reasons why it needs to be changed. But um, she was actually incentivized financially to start this battle and go off on her own, because if she's going to go off on her own, which is basically what it is, because you're not upholding your commitment. At least she didn't cheat or anything like that, and she just wasn't happy and going through menopause. Some of this stuff too is menopause is another big reason why marriages fail too. There's a significant number of marriages fail during menopause, according to, I think there's one YouTuber that's a female lawyer. I actually like her better than James Sexton, I think. I haven't watched as much. I mean, you kind of get a little bit worn out of it. But James Sexton, he's been on a lot of podcasts, and he's been one of my big points of knowledge. So anybody that's just now starting to go through something like this, I'm kind of out here to help you guys know what your options kind of are and what to be aware of that's going to happen. A couple weeks ago, I did a review of a book called The 10 Biggest Mistakes That Men Make Facing Divorce. And I mean, a lot of those guys are nicer than me, sounds like, in a way. And I mean, the nicer you are, the more you get screwed. Basically, that's a lot of, unfortunately, that's the way the world goes. Especially in the dating field. I mean, women don't like nice guys. They're supposedly, anyways. And now, no, we really do. We just want to. And I mean, that's whatever. I'm not going to go down that road at the moment. Basically, what I really want to do is, like, once a good guy finds a good girl and you guys make the commitment of marriage, I think there should be a commitment to that. And if it's not going to happen, it should be fair and equitable when you actually distribute, the finances as you part. And the funny thing is, Ohio law actually requires an equitable distribution based on what you bring into the marriage. And yeah, I guess I'm tangenting all over the place, but that's, um, I mean, I'm kind of pointing out some of my problems with the system, and I don't know how we can fix it, because if they actually do equitable, and I mean, most people didn't have marriages like mine, and mine was an unusual marriage where we married later in life. We wanted to have kids, but ultimately we didn't, because we were a little bit late getting married, and we had separate finances the entire time we were married, so it's not really hard to find out what an equitable distribution would be that's not 50-50, because she she had all her money that she made, she put it in her own bank accounts and spent it, and I had all the money I made in my bank accounts and I spent it, and it's and then we shared the bills. Um, I took on most of them, and she'll admit that I helped her out. So I helped her out for those 12 and a half years, cut her expenses down, let her save fair money, which I get half of what she saved too. But it's supposed to be equitable based on who brought what into marriage. So it's really easy to do in our case. And our judge that's now making TikTok videos that um, is kind of crazy, and way back to the tangent before is part of the reason I'm doing this, because he he appears to be, he's trying to actually help out the litigants and make some comical, fun, and goofy ass TikTok videos. And um, yeah, I mean, I support anything he does to actually make some change. I'm not really sure those TikTok videos are going to make many people's lives that much better if we can't change the law. Um, I was, in his court. Um, yeah, I guess I'm going to back up to that, and then I'm going to cut this off, so it'll be like a half an hour. We we got new judges at the family court while the one retired while I was going through my divorce, so I didn't see it through with the same judge. Um, so she filed in December. April, we had our first hearing, not for like 3 or 4 months, 4 months, maybe five. January, February, March, April, 4 months. Over 4.5 months from the time she filed. So we were stuck in it, paying lawyers, waiting for stuff to happen for 4.5 months before we even went to court. And then, I'm not going to go into details because I'm going to try to finish it up, but maybe I can document it. I got another 10 minutes to stand up here. We still got a little bit of light. Try to wrap this story up in 10 minutes. Stay focused. Not that good at it. So at that hearing, the judge never showed up. I was told I was prepared to be a witness and question and all that, and told to be nervous when I come in there, because you got to keep your cool. You got to be calm and collective, and you don't want the judge to hate you, and I'm going to do all the work, so you just answer my questions. And well, the judge wasn't there that day, so he just went in front of the magistrate and talked to his buddy, my wife's attorney, because they actually were buddies. I mean, that's another thing too. Don't get your wife's attorney buddy to represent you. That should have been red flag. 10 biggest mistakes people make when facing divorce. When you call a lawyer to try to hire him and he seems like a nice guy and says, "Oh yeah, I just seen your wife's attorney when he was filing your paperwork. Yeah, he's a good guy." Yeah, red flag. Don't hire him. Don't hire him. So then, I mean, at that time, I had no idea. I thought we were finally going to get some direction on what was going to happen. And, I didn't know. Maybe we would have been even divorced then. I had no idea really what was in store for me, which, I mean, there's ways to find out, like watching somebody that's been through it, talking to somebody who's been through it, watching a video like this. And that's why I'm sharing my experience. So he told me to wait in a room. He comes back to the room and says, "Good news, all this stuff that I was worried about, we don't have to worry about any of that. They're not worried about any of that. And I'm doing a great job for you. You should give me a high five, and we need to celebrate here." And I'm just like, "We do?" I just sat here alone for 15 minutes. And so I leave, and my wife's out of state, so wife at the time, I got to learn to call her my ex-wife, but I couldn't say wife at the time because she's still my wife. And I call her up like 15, 20 minutes after I get out, and I talk to her lawyer a little bit on the way out. And or no, not that time, because I talked to my lawyer on the way out. Yeah, later on. That's one advantage. Be your own lawyer because you get to talk to their lawyer. Um, and if you have a lawyer, you're not allowed to talk to their lawyer. So that's my tip. That's one of the 10 biggest things men screw up facing divorce is talk to their lawyer if you're not a jerk, and can work with them. I mean, they're still going to try to fight for their client and screw you as much as they can, but they feel more guilt screwing you if they're actually talking to you. And it makes, as opposed to talking to their buddy who is pretending to help you and maybe actually trying to help you, and maybe they do go to this little role play thing and actually try to help you. But I mean, that's in a realistic, honest world that they do stuff like that. But the reality is they all know each other. They socialize together. Now, do they actually do all the bad things that they could do? Not necessarily. But the fact is that they could. And I mean, every lawyer I went to interview, so they're like, who your lawyer? Oh yeah, I know that guy. Yeah, I've worked with him. Yeah. And I mean, that's where my experience got a little bit unusual at the end. So anyways, that was the April thing. Nothing happened. I called my at the time wife and said, hey, what's up? And she didn't answer to say what's up, what do you think? And she calls me back like 10, 15 minutes later and says, what's happened? What's going on? And I was like, it's over. It's done. I went there, I sat there, I went and talked to my lawyer, and they went and talked to the magistrate, and it's done. She's like, really? I've been sitting here on Zoom just waiting the entire time. So she waited for like half an hour, 45 minutes from the time of the hearing, and she just sat there. They never even acknowledged her. Her lawyer called her on his way home after I actually talked to her. I mean, so then, I'm baffled. I'm like kind of blown away by the inefficiency of the system. And they're like, they set up the next hearing was going to be July 2nd. And then between that time, the lawyer started actually doing stuff. And I was like, well, what is that you're actually doing? Why can't we just sit down and talk about it and agree to something and be done? Oh, no, you can't do that. Bullshit, you can't. You can do that. That's what, James Sexton lays it out in one of his videos. And that divorce scam video that I kind of put out there for people to check out, it says you can agree to pretty much anything. Well, these lawyers lied. They lied. They actually lied. Mine did. I don't know what hers did to her, but mine lied and said that if we don't fight to get and do this, and she takes anything less than she's able to get, she can sue her lawyer. And well, that might be the truth, but once I find, see, I know all this stuff from experience. So, and that's kind of, if this podcast becomes a thing going forward, which, it looks like I'm back up to 3. I went down to 2 for a little while. If anyone is writing messages and stuff for me, it's not showing. Welcome to live chat. Remember to guard your policy and abide by the community standards. All right. It looks like I only got one thing that says hello. So if anyone can just touch the like button to see if I can see that it lights up and send me another message to see if I can actually see it, that would be cool, because this really is just a test and I'm rattling on. But anyways, my lawyer played games with me and I kind of got sick of it. And I figured out that this isn't cool and he's not really helping me. So I ultimately fired him and tried shopping around a little bit and trying to convince my wife that, hey, let's work this out on our own, because lawyers are just trying to make a bunch of money on us. And didn't happen. So she's like, no, I want to do this because I want as much as I can get, basically was what she was saying. And yeah, she's flat out told me that a couple times in conversations. She wants as much as she can get. So I hired a new lawyer to go into that January or July 2nd hearing, and at that hearing, the judge did a couple weird things that kind of bothered me. Um, she told us, all right, somebody did something else, put a little wave in there, so I do see that. I don't exactly see who you are. It just says like number one or something. Anyways, probably one of those friends. Is that you, Mark? Had the last minute say check it out for me, so I know somebody's there. Um, yeah, I know. I clearly need to do more to advertise this than to actually make it a thing too. This is really just a little bit of practice session for me. It's the preseason, preseason for what I want to do. Anyways, the judge knew that we drove Teslas and talked about, you know, the possibility of the 12-volt battery going dead and then you can't access your car, which anyone that's actually familiar with my channel and everything, you should check out the most watched videos, actual videos, not the shorts on my channel, because it was an entertaining story that I just had to film before I even knew how to connect videos end to end. I just shot the video and uploaded it. It turns out to be 2 or 3 different videos, and pretty interesting story of a Tesla on a flatbed that got stuck with the dead battery and you couldn't get inside the car. So it was kind of ironic that the judge is enlightening us on this that I already am more or less an expert on. And also she said that there are plenty of funds available in this case to warrant extra time. And once I seen the movie Divorce Corp, I mean, to me that clearly means that it's more time for lawyers to conduct business and drive up the fees. I mean, ultimately, when I went in front of the judge, we simplified things pretty well. So anyways, the lawyer I hired then, he was known as one of the bulldogs and one of the toughest, best damn lawyer in the county. He's like, you can tell your wife that and she'll settle for sure. You know, I'm the best damn lawyer. That'll make her settle. Yeah, that, I don't know if I actually get into the story. There's definitely some things to bring up, which is one of the ways I'm thinking about covering this story is talk about what's happened to me a year ago this time, and you know what. See, there's a couple other ideas that I had before I come up here that I forgot about. I'm going to finish this story and then I'll just stay up here as long as anyone's willing to watch me. And once it goes down to 0, I'm out of here. So the 3 people that are here, thank you. No one's hit the like button though for me that I know of. So that I ended up firing that guy before I went to my 3rd hearing on my own, and that same judge turned out to be really cool, and she required us to go to mediation, which, you know, I don't understand why you don't start in mediation. I think everybody should start in mediation, and that would help. Unfortunately, mediation doesn't work because you're allowed, if you, yeah, I mean, if you got a lawyer in your ear saying, don't agree to that, don't agree to that, I can get you a lot more, don't agree to that, don't agree, I'll get you more. Don't be fair just because I can get you more. So, somebody's divorce cost them $46,000 to my attorney because they dragged it out. Yeah, I cut off the purse strings, and then the judge, at least half the purse strings, and then the judge said, okay, I guess we can try mediation now. But that didn't work. And then a new judge was elected. So for some reason, I don't understand the whole system, but nothing happened from September to March. Couple little things happened. I got in trouble because I didn't have my stuff appraised, because that was one of my problems with my first attorney. He didn't seem to be working for me. He was encouraging me to accept the fact that they had to appraise my stuff. It's part of the business of divorce, which that doesn't actually have to happen if you can come to an agreement. Remember, you don't have to do this if your partner is willing to work with you. And the problem is, if you watch the Divorce Court movie, which is one of the best things for the problems that we're facing in our country, and it was made over 10 years ago, and you know, hasn't helped much. At least from my point of view, hasn't helped much. I will say that I don't, I don't have the problems of child custody and stuff like that. And from what I'm hearing, I don't have personal experience with that, but it does sound like it is getting better than it used to be. So anyone with personal experience on that, I'd be happy to hear that. It's the kind of stuff I want to see going forward is, oh, someone gave me a like, and now we're up to 4 people. Um, so anyways, yeah, I had to go into court because they filed for contempt because their appraiser never, my wife's attorney specified the appraiser specifically that we were required to use. And he threw it out there a couple times playing his little lawyer games, that, oh, I'll use anyone, you just tell me who. Well, tell me in the moment. I'm not playing that game. I don't want my stuff appraised at all, but if we do, I don't care if that guy does it. I just don't think that we should have to pay for it. And I mean, I'm willing to agree to something if we want to sit down and work on an agreement, if my wife wants to, and if she wants to have this stuff appraised, maybe she should pay for it. And at the contempt hearing that happened end of January, so nothing happened for 4 months. They filed for contempt. They brought me in because their appraiser never actually contacted me. That's fact. He never contacted me, never made any attempt that I was aware of. He never contacted my lawyer. I got evidence kind of proving that if I need to. But nobody wanted to talk about that. Funny, nobody ever wanted to talk about that. They just wanted to blame me since it didn't happen. And so at the contempt hearing, they said it's got to happen by this date. And I was like, okay. I think it was March 15th, and that was like the very end of January, 1st of February. And so it gave us like another 45 days to actually make it happen. And unfortunately, I had to leave because my dad had an emergency and I had to go help him. So, I had to cancel the really soon appointment that we had. And I did that appropriately and I waited. And then I made sure I purposely came home in time, so at the end of February, 1st of March, so I could have my stuff appraised. And I called the appraiser before I even got into the state to let him know, hey, let's make this appointment. It took 4 or 5 days for him to contact me back, I think. Maybe I'm wrong there. It's all on memory. But when he did call me back, he told me, and I got a recording of this. I could share it. I'm allowed to record these phone calls and stuff. And he told me, yeah, you know what? You're kind of a difficult person, and I just don't think I want to do this job. I mean, and it's really, basically what I told him is, I thought it was pretty unfair that he was specifically stated as the person I have to use. And I mean, that's appearance of impropriety. When I was a contracting officer for the Navy and hired contractors, I mean, stuff like that is appearance of impropriety, and it's not cool. And I didn't even have to use those words, appearance of impropriety. And he knew that I was going there. He could tell the conversation that I was going there. And he's like, you know what? I just don't want to be part of this because, yeah, I'm actually a good guy and I get where you're coming from. So I'm just not going to do this. And he said he was going to tell my wife's attorney that we just couldn't meet up. And then I actually did get mad. I was like, well, that's fine. Just go tell, just don't lie. Just tell them you don't want to do it, but don't lie. Well, when the hearing came up on 25th of March, her lawyer had this whole story built up of false story that was based on the truth. And my experience in that court was really bad with the new judge for the first time, the judge that's making TikTok videos. And so my experience, I walked out of there with like, oh my God, I am getting the business of divorce is real. I'm not going to say everything that actually happened in there at this time, but I mean, it's clearly was not proper behavior. And then I knew I had to hire an attorney for sure. And strangely enough, the next couple months were very interesting months for me. I mean, it's all big undertone stress that I'm feeling the whole time. And I'm working on, this time I'm going to hire a good attorney and a fair attorney and an honest guy. And I get a bunch of names. I call them. Yeah, there's none available. Anybody that's good and fair and honest, not available. You got to wait quite a while before you can even meet with them for an initial consultation. So I had at least 3 or 4 consultations. I found one guy that I really liked. Set up a follow-on appointment, and before that happened, I actually just reached out. I was like, I can talk to her lawyer directly now. I'm going to do that. And I set up an appointment to talk to him directly, and it went reasonably well enough that I thought we could work together to come up with a solution, and I didn't end up not hiring that attorney. And he was kind of on standby in case I decided I needed it. And there's a lot of depression and procrastination and all that goes on during this period, because I mean that's why I really feel we need to change the rules, because it keeps it, I mean, this whole last year, I should have been divorced last year, and the healing process should have started. But instead, I keep trying harder to keep her, and because I like her anyways, and I'm financially motivated to try to keep her. And then, I mean, if it was the only reason, it'd be really bad for me to be doing that. But quite honestly, I wanted to keep her anyways. So the financial reason just put it over the top. It's like, yeah, I really want you back because, I want to retire, and I don't want to have to get, not be able to retire now and go back to work just because you don't want to be my wife anymore. It seems really insanely ridiculous when you think of it like that. So she so yeah, I kept trying, and basically it emotionally scarred me and hurt me because I kept trying. And I passed up on other opportunities, and I wasn't going to quit until it was over. So I don't know if I turn around, if the sky will look a little bit cooler. It's actually kind of best being lit this way. Probably need to get down from here soon. I can climb down in the dark. But I don't know. Maybe it's helping me just to sit and rattle on for a while. Anyways, the next hearing that I had wasn't until June with that same judge that really screwed me over in March. And lo and behold, there was a huge change in his demeanor. And that's where, he's making these TikTok videos, and I want to pat him on the back and say thank you. When I went back in, he was actually reasonable with me. He worked with me. He didn't try to coerce me into getting a lawyer, didn't try to scare me and say, all the stuff that he said in that other hearing. And, he actually basically said, if you don't want to hire a lawyer in the next month, and he ordered my wife back to mediation. So it's like, do your best, try to mediate. If you don't mediate, you're going to be my first trial. If you don't come to an agreement in mediation, you're going to be my first trial. Well, mediation was a nightmare. In hindsight, the mediator, I'll give her a lot of credit. She really tried to bring us together because we were pretty far apart. Because I thought she doesn't want to stay married. She should pack up her stuff and go and take care of herself, because that's what she was. I mean, I shouldn't have to take care of her if she wants to take care of herself. And she has plenty means to do it. So that's what I felt. I mean, I was willing to help her out. I was willing to give her something because, I don't know, I just felt something. But I didn't think fairness would be, she chose to leave. I didn't do anything all that wrong, and she just didn't like me anymore. So that hurt, and I didn't think she should get paid. And clearly, and I mean, her argument was she wanted as much as the law would allow. So she went for as much as the law could allow. And so we're in a mediation session. I'm like, well, let's meet halfway in between that. She would have came down to halfway in between that, which would be something you would do in some kind of mediation, because you should recognize that, it's hurting me to have to give up all this that I work for. And quite honestly, if I would have had a prenup or just done some paperwork while I was married to actually track these are the things that it's really helpful for people that's watching this, that, the future ones, I'll do a better job. And hopefully get some more questions and have more people here, so that they try. If you get married, get a prenup. If not, and you're concerned about your finances, make sure you track it, because there's 50% chance that it might matter, because there's no commitment in marriage. And all right, so I mean, that's the story. I rambled on for a little while. Something come up, great job, from another source. I don't know if that's to me or not, through WhatsApp. Just, I do get notifications. That's the little things I'm experimenting with now. I still got one person hanging with me. I'm gonna basically cut this off for now. I thank everyone for helping me check this out and be there for my first time trying this. So now I know that hopefully we'll get some people to ask some questions, and we can actually talk about what I might suggest based on my experience, which I really think we don't need lawyers. And then also, what I really need help with is what to do moving forward with getting laws changed and stuff like that. Things that's happened for me is I have tried to reach out to state representatives and stuff like that. And, back before the March hearing, I was actually interacting with the state representative's office. And on the afternoon of my trial, I got a returned email from like 4 months ago saying, sorry about the delay, but you're going to get to talk to this other committee or whatever, the House of Representatives, and they're going to reach out to you. Well, guess what? It never ultimately ended up happening, and I ultimately got a response from my representative saying, hey, yeah, we reached back out to them, and they don't seem as responsive as they were a little while ago, and yeah, if we hear any more, we'll let you know. So yeah, I mean, it's the truth is I don't think they don't really want to do the change. And if they really wanted to do the change, they would start doing something. And oh yeah, we got close to a full moon. Whoa. Yeah, I'll throw the moon in there behind me before I close this one out. All right, I end up almost an hour, and it's definitely going to stop at a half an hour. So I can ramble on if nobody. Definitely ramble on sharing the story. So, all right, 2 people left. I appreciate it. Thanks for hanging with me and helping me out. And I'm out for now. Now I can press the X.